Hi, my name is Michelle, and I would like to talk to you about when I knew I had lupus and when it started and where I am today. I had people ask me, when did I know that I had lupus? Like, what symptoms was I experiencing that made me go to the doctor to get diagnosed with this disease? So let me just say, I didn't know I had lupus. But once I was diagnosed with it and looking back over my life, I think I've kind of determined that I started having symptoms back in my 20s. And let me tell you what the symptoms were. So when there was really nice sunny days outside, I would always feel like I had the flu. It never mattered. It could be the nicest day outside out of the whole week, and that was the day that I was just dreadfully sick. So I used to take a lot of Alka-Seltzer Plus, Theraflu, aspirins, anything to help me feel better. And even though I felt like I had the flu, I never had a fever. So it was kind of like weird. Like I feel awful, and I know the difference between what a flu feels like and what a cold feels like. But this really just felt like the flu. So I think that was my first time feeling symptoms, but never had any other symptoms to say, hey, I need to go to the doctor and see what all this is about. So let me just first start and tell you what lupus is. So I've been diagnosed with lupus SLE, and lupus is an autoimmune disease. So it causes inflammation, joint pain, and it just really makes you just feel really awful. Like some days you don't even want to get out of the bed. And lupus affects people differently. I feel like I'm functioning with this chronic illness pretty well, but I do have my days where I have my flare-ups where I just don't feel good at all. And flare-ups is when you get the symptoms of nausea, the low-grade fevers, or you just don't want to get out of bed, or your body hurts so bad that you have to take something to alleviate the pain. And again, it affects people differently. I'm still able to work and again to function daily, but I do know people with this disease where it's really have them almost bedridden. So I first want to say that this is not medical advice. I'm just giving you my experience with lupus to where it started to where I am now. So let's speed up from when I was 20, feeling like I had the flu, up to where I am now. So in 2019, I was experiencing back pain. So my back pain came because I was lifting things too heavy. I remember one time lifting up the vacuum and I turned too quickly and I didn't brace myself. So my back gave out. So I know the reason for my back issues was really negligence on my own part by not lifting things with my knees and holding my core and lifting things. So that's where my back pain came from. Nothing to do with lupus, as far as I know. 6 to 9 months later, I started having very severe feet pain. Like I couldn't really wear heels anymore. My feet hurted like so bad where I had to like rub pain medication on my feet just to be able to walk. So that was like one sign. So I do work a job where I work 8 to 9 hours a day working on a computer. So it came to me like, oh, this must be my wrist started hurting. That was the thing. So I was like, maybe it's carpal tunnel because I do a lot of typing. And so then I started putting like pain patches on my wrist just to kind of help alleviate the pain. So it had gotten so bad that I was like, let me just go to the doctor because I've heard people who had carpal tunnel before have surgery, and I was saying this is getting too painful for me to type. So I went to my doctor and kind of explained my symptoms with that, and he looked at me. He's like, that doesn't sound like carpal tunnel to me. And he's like looking at me like real funny. And he's like, you need to go see a rheumatologist right away. Like make an appointment right away. Go see a rheumatologist. He never once said what he thought it could be. He said, just go to a rheumatologist, tell them your symptoms. They'll do blood work and go from there. So I went in, talked to him. And honestly, y'all, this is kind of like, I don't remember a whole lot of it. I remember going in, telling him my symptoms. I had to do blood work. And I mean, they were taking a lot of tubes of blood. So they did the blood work. Maybe a week later, he called and said, come into my office. I'm still not thinking anything of it. I go in and he looks at me, sit at a desk, and he looks at me, said, opens his folder, closes, said, yeah, you got lupus. And he leans forward and starts telling me about, oh, yeah, I get you on this treatment plan, this and that. And the moment that he closed that folder, after he said I had lupus, I kind of like blanked out. Of course, the thoughts ran through my mind was like, I don't have lupus. Like, I don't have lupus. you're reading this diagnosis completely wrong. I really felt like when he told me that, it wasn't any bedside manner, as they say, no leading up to this is the way we think it is. It was just like a matter of fact, you have lupus and that's it. What the things I've heard about lupus prior to that was not good. So my mind immediately went to like, oh, I'm about to die. Like this is a death sentence for me. And not even to mention, I had a cousin who passed from lupus in 2014. So it really hit when he said that. So when he mentioned, when he was going over, let's get you on this medication, that medication, I immediately said, like, I don't have lupus and I'm not getting on any medication. Like I was not going to claim that I had lupus, especially all the bad things I heard about it. And I was just like, nope, I'm not taking any of this medication. So I walked out of there on no medication. I felt that I'm just going to deal with this, and all these pains and joint pains that I have, all of it's going to pass. Well, I went a year without any medication, without seeing this doctor, and my symptoms got worse. I continued to have pains in my feet, my joints, my fingers at this point. I started getting the nodules. Went ahead and went back. I made another appointment, went back to this doctor. I went back in, he did more blood work, and all the numbers on my lab work was just, everything was out of whack. Like things were getting worse. The good thing about it is that my liver and my kidneys were still remain pretty normal, but my blood cells were very, very much out of whack. So I ended up having to take methotrexate was one of the medications that I got on, the folic acid, and then I got on a medication called Benlysta. First thing about Benlysta, I was doing the auto injections once a week at home. When I first got on this medication, it really did not work for me. I felt more sick being on the medication and acknowledging I had lupus than I did when I didn't acknowledge I had lupus. It was like, why'd you even say you had lupus, girl? Now you even feel worse. So I lost a lot of weight. I was nauseous all the time. I was taking nausea pills like they were candy. I just did not feel good. So the emotional impact of having lupus, I believe that helped, that caused some of the weight loss. I did lose my hair, and I just didn't look well, and I just didn't feel good at all. It was, and honestly, it was at the time in my life I was like, I am not going to make it through this. Let me get my business in order. Let me look at my life insurance policies. What's going to happen with this house? My kids are grown. At least they're not little kids, so they're an adult age. Maybe they'll be okay. But I really was thinking, let me get my house in order. At that time, my doctor did my blood work again. We knew that Benlysta wasn't working as my numbers, my lab work was not improving. So he put me on a different medication, which is called Safanello. And this medication, I have to go into an office once, or an infusion center once a month, to have this medication intravenously administered to me, which is, through the vein, and it takes like 30 minutes. So once I got on this medication, I did feel better, but I still have flu-like symptoms, which are called flares. So flares is when you actually feel some symptoms of lupus. So I still experience joint pain at times. Sometimes I still feel like I have the flu where I need to lay down. The fatigue has gotten better now that I've gotten on vitamin D pills, so the fatigue isn't as bad. There are some days where I feel like I just want to go for a walk. Like you wake up in the morning, you just feel great. Like, oh, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna do this and do that. Then the moment I start walking, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, no, this ain't gonna happen. Like I'm hurting, my toes start hurting. I have different symptoms all the time. But being on this medication is way better than what I was when I was on Benlysta. So I'm super grateful. Thing about lupus too, I always have to have my organs checked. Once a year, I have my heart looked at. They do the blood work to make sure that all of my main organs are functioning. But once a year, I still have to go have my lungs tested, because I do have a little nodule in my lungs, which they says is not getting any bigger, which is great. But I still have inflammation in the lungs. Well, now I have to actually take inhaler so I don't cough as much as I used to. So that's something new that was added to the treatment plan. And so I've asked my doctors, like, since my blood work looks really good, like, what is this remission that I hear people go in? Like, Do I not have to come in for medication anymore? Is it something I can sustain just being at home? So no. So remission basically is like, I don't, they want to see not coming in every 4 weeks for my infusion, but maybe come 6 weeks or maybe 8 weeks. So when they said this is a lifelong disease, it really is. It's really considered a chronic illness. And, they say, doctors say, this is something you cannot be healed from. But I am faith believing that I believe that I can eventually be healed from this. And that is the ground that I'm going to stand on. That's my foundation, is my faith. Symptoms that will maybe cause you, that I would say that you need to go to your doctor and talk about it, is if you have family history of lupus. So I mentioned my cousin passed away in 2014. I have another cousin, which was her sister. Once I was diagnosed with lupus, she went and had her blood work done. And so now she's been diagnosed with lupus. So both of us have lupus. And so once we look back on our family history, we kind of talked about it on our grandmother's side, on our father's side. A lot of her sisters had arthritis. I feel like they were misdiagnosed. I mean, we had one aunt who had arthritis. They said had arthritis, and her leg had bent in really bad, and she really couldn't walk. And she was like, the medication she was taking wasn't helping, and she was just in pain a lot. You know, we really won't know if she really had lupus, but I kind of feel like a lot of my grandmother's sisters had symptoms of lupus, and it was just misdiagnosed. And I really felt like they struggle with a lot of pain then. One of the unexpected lifestyle adjustments that I am adapting to is going from wearing heels to tennis shoes. Yes, homegirl can no longer wear heels. Like the toes, that big toe and that toe next to it, it's like the nerves. It's just the worst feeling. I can't even explain to you what that feeling is, but I cannot put any pressure on that second toe or even that third toe, where it feels like the bones. Oh, I can't even explain. I even talking about it gives me the chills. Let's just say I gotta wear tennis shoes now. So all of my heels, either I've um, got them in my closet like it's a museum, like my cute ones. Like I'm not gonna get rid of those. I got them sitting on the shelf, like ooh, but can never wear them again. Or I actually have just donated them or sold them off to people. But that's one of the biggest adjustments I had to make. Going to infusion once a month and got nothing over me not being able to wear no heels. So the reason why I'm sharing this story is because I know a lot of people out there struggle with lupus SLE, and there's other forms of lupus that need an outlet to talk to people. I mean, we go through these flares and our bodies are experiencing so many different things that you just need someone to talk to. And you're not alone. You may feel at home in your four walls, feel like you're going through something, but there's so many other people that are dealing with this chronic illness, and we're trying to make it every day. I hear and see a lot of the misfortunes, medical misfortunes with lupus, where my heart goes out to other warriors like myself, where I wish they wasn't dealing with it so harshly. But all we can do is really pray to get through the symptoms and this chronic illness the best we can, and just continue to move on. Just think very positive, and just know that there's other people out here with the same story or a different story, but we all align together. If you found this video inspiring, please give it a thumbs up so it can reach other people with lupus. I would love to hear your story. So in the comments, if you can tell me when you first learned you had lupus, and what's one of the things that you had to make a life adjustment for because of lupus. So I look forward to talking to you on the next video. Bye.